Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and welcome to Deep Astrology. We are here for the week of April 30th through May the 5th of 2019. Have you all survived Saturn retrograde? I know it's been a little chaotic out there, and it's been pretty tough, so I'll come to you on that level first. But before we go into all that deep stuff, let's talk about, do you know what the show's about? This is where I do the weekly astrology horoscope, where I channel the horoscope to you, and then we go deep into the charts, brought to you by Astrology, which you can get on iOS, Android, and of course on your MacBook. But if you don't got any of those Apple products, go over to PC and get SolarFire, all by the same people. And I gotta thank all those peeps over there for hooking us up with the charts. Now, yes, this is a big week because, of course, Saturn has just retrograded. Last week we had Pluto retrograde in Capricorn with the South Node on there. You want to talk about really feeling, whether you want to call that some toughness, tough choices. I like to look at it as the ultimate, like, this is the end of the line. I am done with this. I am not going to do this anymore. I was actually talking to, I think it was Sarah who's actually running the cameras yesterday. We were both talking. I was like, it's like kind of like, this Saturn, Capricorn retrograde with Pluto and the South Node there is kind of like, the dam's about to overflow and everything. It's like, stop the water. No. And everybody's freaking out like, we want the water, but it's like, it's gonna explode. So stop it. There's that kind of chaotic energy because this Saturn retrograde happened literally yesterday with the moon in Pisces. So people are ultra sensitive. Plus we had Mars coming off the square to Neptune. But this week is a whole lot of stuff. Why? Well, as we're talking here on Tuesday and into Wednesday, Mercury will begin a very hard square. It's going to be squaring over to Saturn, the South Node. And this is not the most fun transit, but it can be very good, because it is forcing us to really understand with Mercury now in Aries. Remember, Mercury went through hell for 6 months. I say that because go look at the end of 2018. Mercury went retrograde in Sagittarius' detriment. I've said this before, but if you've never watched this before, then of course it went through Capricorn with Saturn, Pluto, and everything where it doesn't want to be, and it was just all this, Then it went through Aquarius at its fastest speed when the sun was in Aquarius, so it was only 2.5 weeks, just Mercury out. And then it was over 60 days in Pisces where it went over the spot of Neptune, where it then went retrograde at the last degree of the zodiac, and where Chiron had just left. And then it came and stopped on Neptune, and then it went direct. It was semi-squaring Uranus. I mean, we're talking about Mercury is just wanting to get out of the shit show. So when you look at your mind and when you look at just your overall attitude, this has been a draining 6 months. Plus, with all the planets that were direct, starting the first week of January, when Uranus went direct on January, I think it was 6th. Oh my gosh, we have been flying so fast. So actually, these planets that are retrograding are actually a godsend, because this is where you want to quit. Now, there are some things, granted, that Saturn and Capricorn with the South Node is saying that we do need to quit in our lives. But there's other parts that are saying, this is where you don't quit. This is where all the hard work since when Saturn went direct in September of 2018, all that hard work that Saturn's been moving forward towards has finally brought us to this retrograde point to start to retrieve all that hard work. And also it includes integrity, being totally exposed with Pluto here. Like, what's of integrity, what's not? And this is important with the square now with Mercury trying to understand these big choices. They're not easy, but they are about what is the only thing to understand? Aries. Okay, I got to have strength and I got to understand it and I got to move on. I got to move forward. Mars, this week is going to come into a big opposition with Jupiter, so our doubts are high. Or as I like to say on the app every day, extreme! It's extreme, because when you got Mercury squaring Saturn, that's already a doubt. That's like very like the Hermit card, like, oh my God. But it's good because it's about slowing down, processing the decisions, and looking at what is going to get you what you need, what you want to move into that brightness, to move into that strength. So don't trip out. This is just observing and understanding at a very potent aspect with the South Node on Saturn retrograde, these very intense choices we've all made in our lives, these very intense, I guess you could call it hikes that we've all been on to get to this place. And we've all had to do this and do that just to get on the hike. One thing about Capricorn is, I will give it this. Capricorn is the toughest sign of the zodiac. You know why? Because it knows how to get to where it needs to go, no matter how thirsty it is, no matter how much uncomfort we might have to go through. It kind of reminds me of, Game of Thrones and these White Walkers, and they just keep going and they just keep going, But I don't put them in that negative light, but just like the energy that it just keeps going. It'll trek as far as it can go. But it just keeps going. Even when everything feels emotionally gone in life, something comes out of the background and it's like, I'm still going, And that's what's just, what's scarier than a bunch of zombies coming at you is like, I guess you could just say like a bunch of people that, I don't know why, that's too dirty of a joke, we're not going to go there. But I was going to say, Capricorn does rule old age. It kind of reminds me, let's call it the Hermit card. Like the Hermit card going up the mountain with his little light going, and then he gets knocked down and all this crazy stuff happens, and out of nowhere he comes up with his cane and he's like, I'm still here. And you're like, oh my God, and you run away. But that's the whole part, is that you need to realize that you are coming out of these ashes. We got Pluto retrograde that just happened. This is the rising of the phoenix that comes to the ashes when it comes to major choices in our long-term life. But with the South Node here, it's like what does not serve us anymore on our trail, on our destiny, has come to the peak point. Because we're not going to see Saturn and Pluto with the South Node again, especially go retrograde in our lives in Capricorn. So welcome to the most weird, and I don't think it's any irony, and I'm going to bring Game of Thrones back into this, that the episode that we just had on Sunday was like all battle and dark and oh my gosh, and Saturn and Pluto on the South Node. And that's why I'm trying to prepare people for the beginning of 2020 when Saturn and Pluto actually conjunct, because I'm not saying it's going to look like episode 3 of season 8 or whatever of Game of Thrones, but there is a little bit of that vibe there, especially if you are too afraid to make the choice to your best emotional self. Remember that this is a North Node in Cancer that's in opposition to this Saturn retrograde. So the choices that we make that are tough, that are hard, that are no longer on the road, that no longer serve us, actually, in retrospect, are to get us to a better emotional place, even though it's actually a hard choice to get into a more comfortable space, and it's uncomfortable as hell to make that choice, which is kind of a paradoxical weirdness, but that's actually how really life works. I remember going from 6th grade to 7th grade, and that was like a big deal, because guess what? You got a locker now. Oh my gosh. I don't have to, I just can't put my backpack and just go in the same one class and just sit there. I got to go to other classes. Oh God, now I got to actually go date and go to dances now. But once you actually get through those fears, guess what? There you are, especially me in the 90s, it's like, no grinding. You know what I mean? Grinding was back in the day to Nelly and, all that stuff. If I would have never got over that uncomfort, I wouldn't have been grinding, baby. You know what I mean? Or I would have never been at the locker, and that's where I would have seen the hot chicks and been like, hey, you want to come by the locker? Hey, maybe we could go hang out by the trees after school and talk a little bit. 7th grade was great. I miss those days. But that's the whole thing, is uncomfortable things that we think are so monumental are actually, when you actually make the choice and you actually do them, it's especially with this Uranus and Taurus, Sun and Taurus, which by the way, this is all about Taurus. I'm just planting the seeds, very Taurus of me right now, right? Of why these choices are so big. This is going to be the first new moon this week. It's going to happen on Saturday, that we are going to have in Taurus with Uranus there. And over 7 years, so it's about 8 decades. First time. So, this is a big moment. This is about us living our best life. But we have never had, since the 1930s, a new moon in Taurus with Uranus and Taurus. Okay? So, most of us, especially most people, I know the analytics that watch the show, although I want to say to those that have been around since then that I love you very much, and that's why I didn't want to make that joke earlier about the Hermit card. But that's why I love you all so much, and I just want to know that I still love you very much, and I'm joking. But I do want to tell you that this new moon is amazing. We just can't see it yet. We have these monumental fears with Mercury then going to square Pluto while a dark moon in Aries comes before this new moon. And it's that dark moon in Aries conjunct Mercury square Pluto that is going to bring up the insecurity of your own power. Uranus went through Aries from 2010 to 2019, okay, folks? We know our power. We know, and I'm going to use a boy analogy, we know what's under that hood. We know. We know how much power is under that hood. But why are we walking into the car and being like, is this thing going to actually fucking perform? Is this thing going to actually, like, be fast? Is this thing going to actually do what I know is underneath there? That's what's coming up. This is the first dark moon in Aries, especially with two personal planets, Venus in its detriment, Mercury in Aries, but it's squaring Pluto and it's squaring Saturn, but it has a trine to Jupiter to remind us that we have to believe, that we have to know the bigger picture, that we need to see outside of this hard choices, these very gritty times. We have to see beyond the black smoke. We have to see beyond these big monumental things. Because guess what? This is the first time we've had a dark moon where we are for sure in a new moon cycle with Uranus and Taurus in Aries. So it's bringing up all the shadow, all the subconscious issues that Uranus has removed. And the moon is the only thing that can truly re-emotionally bring up that karma and release it or absorb it. And this is where we do not absorb that dark shit anymore. We do not absorb the things that are not defined by who we are anymore, the fears that are unwarranted, that are not of our true self, that are not of the part of ourselves that we have known, that we have built the last 9 years of our lives towards, which ironically enough, especially in 2011, was the same eclipse cycle that we're in now, just reversed with the nodes. So, I do want to tell everybody, we got a lot of other things going on this week. This new moon, of course, is great, and it's going to take us to this new world we can't see yet. So this week, don't start doubting yourself. Because you got to remember, a dark moon in Aries, too, especially with Venus there, it's very enticing. Venus in detriment, I call it the blow-up doll of the zodiac. You know, it looks good, it's really good, but oh, man, I got really right into it, and oh, man, is this who I am? Is this what I want? Am I really a blow-up doll? No, I'm a human. Or you can apply that in many other ways. Venus in Aries, like, jumps at it. Like, look at that. That looks good. Oh, wait. Oh, I don't know if I didn't think about that. I forgot that, it's like buying a car. It's like, oh, my God, I love that car. It looks so good. Oh, my God, I forgot to get the sunroof. Shit. That's why Taurus is Venus home. Because you take your time and you look at the whole car and you look at that scratch and you go, there's a scratch there. I won't buy it till you fix it. And so this is the part of us with a dark moon on Venus where we are all been through monumental hardship of hard choices and frustrations and barriers that have shown up in our life to teach us to be tougher and to learn to be more adult and to learn to own our destiny and release the things that are in the way, that are not good for us, that are not part of our sovereign self. Don't forget that Neptune is in sextile to Saturn, and the nodes are going to start their aspects to Neptune coming up here as the north node comes to 19 degrees. Neptune has reached 18 degrees where it's going to retrograde coming up here in the next month. This is crazy because Neptune at 18, we've never been here before since the 1800s, especially 1850s. So guess what? We are in this, woo! And if you actually look at some really deep, whether you look at Ptolemy and the different aspects of where we look at the decans or we look at traditional decans, we're in a very mercurial Neptune zone of Pisces, where our mind is all over the place and we're doubting and we are imagining ideas, but are we going to actually go follow through with them? When we actually make that choice, we're freaking afraid. But with a dark moon on Venus, it's really easy to just get over these choices by quick, easy, fast food that makes us feel better quick. And that's why this week, granted, I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do. But when it comes to things to make us feel better real quick, I'm sure a lot of us are going to do whatever we're going to do to make us feel better through it all. I'm pretty much going to guarantee it. And I think that part of it is about not judging yourself about it, but at the same time, it's going to remind you when that new moon does come this weekend in Taurus, like, is this what you really want by looking at the scratches, by seeing if you want a sunroof or not a sunroof or not? And if it really brings true value to your life. And then that dark moon, of course, comes on top of Mercury. And so we can absorb, which I'm telling everyone, let's release. Let's release with this dark moon. That's what it's about. Releasing this fear of this power that we are, this true, powerful, radical self that was shown to us. But with Uranus out of Aries, I'm sure you're all missing it now, right? You know why? Because now you don't have that superhero energy anymore. It's gone. Yeah, that's right. It's gone, huh? Check yourself for a second. You're not feeling as, oh, I got this. I'm on it. I'll figure it out. I got it. That's Uranus and Aries. I'll figure anything out. What do you want me to do? You want me to rearrange all your books in your house? I'll go do that. You want to rearrange the TV? I got that. You got a toilet need fixing? I got that too. But guess what? Uranus is in Taurus now. It's not in Aries, so you lost that. Oh, I got that. Now it's more like, oh, I don't think I got that anymore. I don't think I can do that anymore. No, I don't think I got that one. Or it's total avoidance. Like, no, I'm not here to show up for that. I'm only showing up for me and what I got to do and da-da-da-da. Because Uranus has that element, right, of connecting to people and helping people. And when it's in Aries, we're all like, no, I got you. What do you need? Da-da-da-da-da. Now everybody's kind of, I don't know if I really want to take that on. Because what is Uranus and Taurus now about? Oh, I do have this. It's really valuable to me. Are you going to break it? I do like you, though. I do want to give this to you because I know you're of value to have that. My brother, he just asked me recently, he wanted to borrow one of the vehicles, and I was just kind of like, who's going with you? He was like, yeah, you're right. I'll call you when it's just my wife and I and my stepdaughter. I'm like, exactly. So there's that whole new element of Taurus, which is like, now we're willing to do whatever, figuring anything out if it feels valuable to us. Now, how does this apply with relationships? Because that's a big part right now. Venus and Aries in its detriment, getting ready next week to make big squares. Mercury, doubting and questioning, but seeing the big picture. This is big because with relationships, especially since Venus does rule Taurus, and we are going to have a Uranus new moon energy in Taurus now, better world. There is this interesting element when it comes to relationships now. It's like you're only excited about the energy in partnerships, whether that's business, whether that's love, whether that's anything that brings you value or reminds you of your value back, or that has honored you with integrity, or that has honored you with the true depth of true worth and value. No more surface shit. That's the one negative of Uranus and Aries is, of course, when you start jumping in to help everything and be a superhero about everything, you'll look back over the last years, last 9 years, and you're like, I really drove all the way there and did all that, and that was really what I did, and it really just paid off for literally a millisecond, and actually I really didn't have to do that, and then I drove all the way back home, and wow. Uranus and Taurus goes, no, hold on one sec. Check the worth out, then we'll fix it. And that's why Uranus is at its fall position in Taurus. Because in its fall position, it's got a price checker. And right now in your life, this is a great week to start doing this to everything. Beep! Do I have enough for this? Energetically, emotionally, spiritually, integrity-wise. If I don't, I don't, and I'll put it back on the shelf. And why is Uranus at fall position here? Well, it's pretty simple. Uranus is an Aquarius, ruled energy. And Aquarius is all about the collective and helping everybody out. But when Uranus is in Taurus, Taurus is thinking about, well, do I have the money for this? Or do I really find it attractive or beautiful enough in my life to bring in? Yeah, I'm going to say that, especially with Venus and Aries too. Whoo! Venus and Aries is like, I ain't walking down a red carpet with that person unless it looks exactly the way I want it to look next to me. That's just truth, okay? So, yes, vanity is running high right now. And I'm not saying that that's a positive or negative thing. I'm just saying that this is a time where when we're all looking for depth and integrity and connection, we've got to see through that vanity. We got to see through those elements and go to value and go to, do I identify with what's behind that surface stuff? And that's what Jupiter's trying to show Mercury, is like, look at the big picture. Look at how this whole thing will come together in your future. And is this even part of your belief systems? Because right now we're questioning our belief systems like crazy, based upon choices we've made, based upon our karma. I'm going to bring up karma with the South Node on Saturn retrograde in Capricorn, which in my opinion, a lot of people don't like to say, oh, you can't attach just one planet to karma, and I agree with that. I think that there's a lot of little things that connect together which aspect karma, but the original lord of karma is Saturn. So with a South Node in Capricorn, yeah, it is about kind of this karma coming back, and then it is messed up because think about this. Jupiter's in retrograde, and as Saturn's going to retrograde slower, Jupiter and Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto and the South Node are in a semi-sextile. They're 30 degrees apart. So with this big two retrogrades within last week that finally finished here on Monday, Jupiter is doubting all of the fucking karma and choices. Like, oh my gosh, is that good? Did I do that? Was I fucked up? Was I dumb? What the hell? Did I get it? And why? Because Mars is in Gemini. And it's in opposition this week. And it's creating a minor T-square within, 3 to 4 to 6 degrees, depending on which angle you're looking at. And when you get this T-square with Neptune, and you've got this Mars opposed Jupiter, which, by the way, remember, Mars is I'm going for it. And Jupiter is yeah, believe, let's go. But when they're in opposition, you are doubting your own identity and what choices you made and why, because Mars is quincunxing Saturn and Pluto and the South Node, as Mars is going to go to 20, 21, 22, 23. And what is 20, 21, 22, 23? Where Saturn and Pluto and the South Node are all sitting. So this whole week we've got this Mars in Gemini that's going crazy over doubt and fears, and I don't know, and if it's the right direction, and it's opposing Jupiter. Hold on, I believe this, but you're telling me this new fact? Or now you changed your mind? What? Are we gonna go or not? What the hell's going on? Neptune's like, I don't fucking know, I'm stoned as fuck. You guys tell me what to fucking do. You know what I mean? Like, this is a crazy, ludicrous energy that has all just spracked out in our lives. Welcome, everybody, but it's about noticing to disconnect for a second. I know I acted that energy out real gnarly, but that's the energy. It is the big battle of the gods right now. Mars opposed Jupiter. Immutable signs. Craziness. But the good news in all this is this weekend with this new moon. Because while Mars is quincunxing and making hard aspects to Saturn, Mars doesn't like Saturn, remember that. Only when Mars and Saturn do come together and they've got a plan and Saturn's like, I got the connections. Mars is like, all right, cool. Let's do it. Boom, we're gonna execute and we're gonna get there. That's why they're the two malefics. When the two malefics hang out, they actually like each other. But when they're in weird angles, Saturn's kind of like, hold on, I got this plan, and you're changing your mind, Mars? Yeah, I kind of have a different look at this now. Well, that's not part of the fucking plan, dude. So they kind of have a weird thing, and that's playing out in our lives. Like, did I make the right move? Should I go in this direction, or should I stick to the original plan? And especially go back to plans that go back to when Saturn entered in Capricorn in December of 2017. Kind of go back to that spot and kind of go, whoa, but even go back to September of 2018, because everything that happened during that time, in that swirl point, remember that was when Venus started to come into shadow before it went to, retrograde. which is kind of ironic because this is where Uranus is in opposition, where Venus was in its shadow period, in opposition at 3 degrees that's coming this week. So there's a lot of crazy stuff here that I'm going to show you in the charts. But then you got Mars, quincunx Pluto. And Pluto and Mars love each other. They are the same, they are cousins, I guess you could call them. Or we could even say they're inbred cousins. But they are about penetration and let's go. But there's this weird angle of Mercury or Mars and Gemini and this whole mercurial sense of like, well, hold on 1 second. And I got Jupiter opposing me and oh my gosh. And so Pluto is like the crypt keeper who is like coming up and being like, are you sure you're going to do that? It's kind of like, yeah, are you going to fight me about it? No, but I will come at you when you're asleep tonight and you don't want to know. Oh, I'm still going to go. You know, that's the whole thing is like, you're just playing with me, huh? You don't know though with Pluto. So there's this deep fear. Fear is a lot all over the place. And anybody projecting fear right now on you, an old angel card reader, that is bullshit. Straight up. Because all the way that this is the fear from us having a beautiful life. And Uranus and Taurus is about reevaluating and getting all information to knowing what our true value is. And people are doubting their beliefs. That's why I bring up that angel card reader. You know why? Because look at Mars opposed Jupiter is somebody afraid of still following their beliefs and changing it because of a quick little thought. Oh, I watched a quick YouTube video. I changed my whole thought. I read something somewhere. I'm changing my whole entire belief system. Jupiter is in its dignity. You have to remember your original beliefs always of what brings you the open doors. If your life is closing down or going into ruin, that's not because of some crazy weird situation from God or whatever. That's you realizing that you're going off a new direction that's away from your original beautiful, positive, open boundaries of love and infinite to God itself, and changing course because you're so afraid of whatever karma might come back to you based upon a belief system that's old and outdated. We are changing ages, people. This is bringing up doubts from religion in yourself or going back to a certain religion. This is bringing up doubts in whether or not you are okay to actually go in what is logical and connected with your beliefs that actually make sense to your long-term goals. You know? So I just want to say that I know it's crazy out there, but once this new moon happens and once we get through, Mercury comes off these squares after, and it trines Jupiter, it's positive, and it comes to the end of Aries, and it finally gets a breath of fresh air. And this weekend coming into Monday, I definitely think is going to be really positive with this new moon going on, but it will be Mars opposed Jupiter this weekend, which is believe in your strength, believe in your power. We can, of course, change our minds about things, but we need to remember we need to do more research. And we just can't just like change our minds so fast, so quick, just because somebody told us to, or just because we saw something, and especially based off fear. And I know that this can actually be complicated because when you're in all these mutable energies, and especially when you're dealing with mercurial energies, with Mercury squares and Mercury trines and Mars in Gemini and opposition to Jupiter in its home sign. This is craziness, right? But really, it's only when it's fear-based. Or a better example is when it doesn't make sense and there's something about your emotional body, there's something about your mental body, and there's something about your soul that just goes, there's something off about this. It's still, no matter how much I think it looks good, I believe a lot of the same beliefs, if it doesn't feel right and there's that fear of moving into there because you know there's something on the other side that doesn't feel right, that's where you go, I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. But when there's the fear of moving to something that you've seen and you know in yourself that is going to bring you something better, where I use the analogy of moving from 6th grade to 7th grade, because I remember being extremely excited the summer leaving 6th grade and graduating. Like, I'm going to the big kid school now. I get a locker. I get to go to class. We get to drink soda now. That's probably where I got hooked on fucking soda. You know, it's not milk anymore and chocolate milk and water. Thank God. I'm ready for a Coca-Cola or fucking a Mountain Dew. Back in the day, I was Mountain Dewing it at 7 years old or 7th grade, you know. But you know what? When it came to actually going, there was that fear of like, uh-oh, I'm actually here. But there was still not enough fear because there was enough excitement. There was enough connection. There was enough passion. There was enough knowing that on the other side there was something great. Girls. You know, that was the big one. It was like, oh, I get to go to dances, I get to date chicks. You know, it was hard in 6th grade. You know, like, you know, that was like around the corner, like, you know, pecking my grandma. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm a Leo. I'm all, you know, we're romantics and we like the French kiss, you know, and I'm not French, but we love French kissing. So, yeah, 7th grade was French kissing, baby. You know what I mean? Like, that's what, I mean, go. I mean, I don't know. You guys might, I don't know. Maybe you're not from America. I don't know. But we're old school here. We're American pie. You know what I mean? Like, we're old school with the way that we looked at, that's how our school systems work. And there was still no fear to actually do it. It was just that weird initial fear, because this new moon, this Uranus and Taurus new moon, we can see beyond these big mountaintops that we have just reached the most beautiful life we've ever felt and seen. And we have to trust 100% in our beliefs and our facts of knowing and go there. And this is where we do not divert course or go backwards into old karma anymore with Saturn retrograde, going back into old things that you know are old and traditional that do not make you happy. Why? Instead of asking, well, should I change it? You should be going, why would I do that? I mean, 8th grade into 9th grade was a whole different deal, you know, because it was like, oh yeah, people got cars now, and I heard there's some parties where like some crazy shit goes down, you know what I mean? Because, you know, 7th and 8th grade parties are like, you got your N64 with the golden eye? All right. You got AOL Teen Chat. Let's roll. Oh, yeah. Sorry, mom of whoever's house I'm at. I got to go home too. It's 7 p.m. Bye. You know, 9th grade comes along and it's like, oh yeah, we're out on the weekend and my mom says I'm allowed to be out till midnight. Like, there was even fear going into that. But I remember I looked more forward to that excitement of a new life that was going to be more, giving me more. That's what Taurus is about more nourishment, more value, more to have. And I know that sounds very like, oh God, more to have. But that's what Taurus is about. That's why it's ruled by Venus. More to feel good. And why do you think that Taurus rules heaven in astrology? Because it is. Even like I don't care what religion you're in, they all talk about whether it's whatever religion, heaven is some paradise. Well, it's Taurus. And paradise exists, and we have been drained from paradise for so long that actually it might feel like I would rather be on Gilligan's Island right now than anywhere else on the planet and having some fun with, you know, the whole island, I guess, you know, and having a good time. I think a lot of us with Neptune and Pisces just wish we were on Gilligan's Island right now. It actually sounds like a good life, you know? Coconuts, sitting on the tree, you know, staring at ginger, like having a great time. But we're at a whole different ball game. We're at to where the paradise doesn't have to be a prison. that the paradise can be infinite to wherever we want to go, but we have to get through this week. We have to get through this hump, and we have to not go into places that are not part of our journey. We do not want to replay. This is in The Matrix, the movie, when he comes in to meet the architect, and he says, look you've been here 6 times before. And in those 6 times, you always went this direction, and he gives him a big choice. And he chooses love, and he laughs and goes, oh, the architect's like, you're so stupid. And it was actually that choice, that 7th choice. What do you think 7 is, the life path number of spirituality? It was that choice that was the right choice. This is where you have to stop making, I bet you, and just based off the way that the infinity in the universe works, we've all been here, and I've had this conversation with you and everything, and we've all been here before, and we're all making these same choices all over again. But there's something about this time that's like, I do not want to do that shit all over again. Let's take a look at the charts. Ugh. All right. I got to say thank you to Sarah for stepping in. She's done an amazing job. I want to say I miss Craig. Not because of Sarah, but we're just being, Sarah and I both were saying how much we miss Craig. And we love you, Craig. And I don't know. He's down in Mexico having a good time. They've already given him a bunch of names down there. I don't know what those names are, but I hope you're having fun, whatever your new name is, Craig. So, we're going to take a look at all these charts, but I'm going to throw you a Uranus loop this week. We're going to actually start with a Helio chart first. What? For today. Now, why am I showing you all a Helio chart? Is it on the thing, Sarah? Okay, cool. So, this is for today. I did it for today, the last day of April before we come into May. And in Helio, the sun is at the center of the chart, okay? So this is not the Earth. But what's interesting is as Saturn went retrograde yesterday, or last night, 6 p.m. Pacific, look at Mars in Cancer in its detriment. It's fall. Exactly in opposition to Saturn. Now, we are going to have this in about less than a month, like about a month. But it's weird that it's already happening in the zodiac up from the sun's point of view. What's interesting about Helio, you'll notice Mercury's back, so it's trying to catch up. That's why Mercury is, in Aries right now and after it went retrograde. But if you notice, Mercury's back. Venus just entered Pisces, and look at the sextile to Uranus. This is why some crazy relationship stuff has happened in the last 24 hours. Crazy. Saturn exactly opposing Mars. This is where the big doubts and the big fears are coming. But there is this, this Mercury and Aquarius aspect with the sextile to Jupiter, which it's interesting. We're going to have a Mercury trine Jupiter, I'll show you. But in Helio, it's a really interesting dynamic we're going through right now, which actually we're going through a kite. Where are we going to fly into the places we want to go? Now, there is no nodes of the moon per se, because this is Earth right here, okay? So there is no nodes of the moon, so there is no south node. But it is interesting. In order for us to reach this big, intense place in our life we want to go, we are making some big cuts emotionally that are not defining us in where we want to go in order to get where we want to go. And we are having to see that there are desires and wants and imagination that are better for us in our life that we are connecting with, that we are seeing. And look at Jupiter exactly square Neptune. What's been very ironic about Jupiter that's been squaring Neptune exactly in the Helio zodiac is that what's very interesting to me is everything, whether you go to the politics right now about the reports, whether they did this or they're doing that, but also why you are having belief malfunctions and questions, and am I on the right thing? Am I guilty? Am I going to hell? Am I not going to hell? Am I whatever? Remember that this transit has not happened since 1852 into 1853 with Jupiter and Neptune in their home signs. And so when you actually think about, look at 1852 and 1853. Jupiter and Neptune are going to square again in the next couple of months. So, and Geo, and what we look at is astrology, Western astrology. So, in 1852 and 1853 was the beginnings of one of the worst presidents. I'm not saying he was by my own belief, but go look up. And it was also the end that the Whig Party lost, so it was the end of a party in politics. It was the it was a really crazy time because it actually created the Civil War. It was people battling over slavery being good or not bad, or there was so much. And you have to take it from that time period that people believed so much in what they were at. But with Neptune there, it could be the wrong spiritual belief or what's spiritually righteous. And there's this spiritual righteous battle. But when you're in the middle of it, it's kind of hard to know where you're being pulled. Like Neptune can pull that Jupiter's powerful energy into whatever it wants. It's a great Oz effect right now. So whether you're being pulled into thinking Mueller's wrong or that Mueller's right, or in politics, especially with Saturn and Pluto and South Node and fucking Capricorn, come on. Why do you think that this is so divisive right now of these belief systems? And it's so one-sided. It's either this side or that side. And then when you try and say you're in the middle, you really are leaning another side. And that's where you have to learn to separate and see above all this stuff. Anyway, I wanted to just show you guys those Helio charts, that Helio, because I thought it was pretty interesting about the Saturn retrograde and how gnarly it was and how it's connected to relationships with Venus and Uranus in sextile and changing a lot of crazy situations. So here we are for today, Tuesday, April 30th. And we have got, like I said, the big party happening here with Saturn and Pluto and the South Node. Look at that, South Node and Saturn, pretty much exact. And this has been very intense on these decision fronts. And if you see here, Jupiter is at 23, making a nice semi-sextile, although I wouldn't call it nice, but it is a semi-sextile. It is a 30-degree angle, and it is causing some doubts about the choices we made and whether or not we made the right choice and are we screwed. But there's a lot of kind of craziness going on. Here's Mercury at 20 degrees as we're talking right now, making an exact square over to Saturn. And this is where you have to remember and identify and understand these big choices. I mean, right away, you know what's crazy is like right away, the second that literally Saturn retrogrades, how ironic that literally within less than 24 hours, less than a day, Mercury squares Saturn, to understand these major choices. And when you add the South Node, which makes it more potent, more intense, more releasing than ever, and more physical reality. Remember that Rahu, North Node, is, you know, what it's trying to achieve and what it's trying to eat and what it's trying to have. But the South Node is the body without the head. It's what we physically are like, whoa, like, whoa. And with Saturn there, we're feeling Saturn more than you'll ever feel it right now, ever. I've been calling it kind of like a Mercury retrograde, like trying to like do a video last night and oh, the card's not here and oh, this isn't here and oh my gosh, my time is off and I want to get here at this time, but nope, there's a delay. I've delayed myself here. Nope. What, can we make our schedules work? Nope. Whoa. So Mercury's trying to figure this out, like what the hell's going on? You know, it's kind of like Mercury in Aries, you got to remember, is like a war general that's like, what's going on out there? I hear some ruckus. What the hell's going on? There's a problem? Oh, shit, I got to figure this out right now. And I got to, whoa, it's a little crazy. Oh, gosh, are we going to be okay? It's the only time that Mercury has a hard time in Aries, because that's the hardest square point for Mercury in Aries, is Saturn in its home side. Or Mars when it's at fall in Cancer. But at least Mercury is winning. But it's not winning here. Saturn's winning. So it's like, I doubt myself. There's some frustrations. They're too big. My mind doesn't think I can process this. I don't think that I'm going to be okay. Maybe we should flank. Maybe we should put the white flag up. No. There's a square to teach you not to put the white flag up. Saturn actually is very nurturing and caring. And Saturn's like, I kind of scare you, but I actually really care. It's like this old motherly grandma who like, you know, is out of like a horror movie or something, but she's cool. And she doesn't have any crazy energy on, but you know, it's just kind of like, you know not to mess with her. But she's stern, and she's telling Mercury, like, listen, I want you to get where you want to go in your life, but you can't doubt yourself anymore. And especially you can't keep taking the road that's taking you to a place that's no longer part of your integrity, that's really who you are. And more importantly, with Pluto there too, Pluto's like sitting next to it, kind of like the thug looking after the grandma. Like, yo, you need to talk to grandma. You know, like you pass that line, it's over. And then, but kind of encouraging Mercury through this square, which I'll show you this week, kind of like, yeah, listen to what grandma says. You know what I mean? Like, Pluto puts the final touch on things. Pluto like drives you in, like, oh, trust me, you listen to grandma, you'll get whatever you want. I'll let you come whenever you want. I'll give you my number. I'll give you whatever you need. Oh, okay, cool. So this is about not looking at fear anymore, but empowerment, that you're over those hard choices. You might, and I'll be honest, with South Node and Saturn and Pluto, these have been abrupt. These have been harsh. And it's very hard to, especially in Capricorn, we don't want to like expose it in a way that doesn't feel like it's tailored the right way. We want to, you know, because remember, Capricorn wants to show up in a nice suit or a nice dress, and it wants to show up to the dinner and doesn't want to talk about the fight in the parking lot or expose that to people. But there was a major fight in the parking lot, you know what I mean? And then showing up with false smiles like, hi, how are you? Yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great. We're celebrating 8 years tomorrow. Yeah. I gotta go. Hold on one second. What's wrong? Oh, I don't know. I don't feel good. Oh, God. Do you really want to go through that? If you're in that position right now, I'm calling out to you. You don't have to live that way. Trust me, you don't have to live that way. And this is what this Mercury is having to understand and grasp, because Saturn is very tapped into the reality. And Saturn knows that Mercury is heading towards Uranus. And so it knows, because let's be honest, Saturn is the ruler of this reality, okay? And it wants it to go through. Remember that Saturn, it looks at this whole entire solar system, especially it looks at the sun, but it looks at Earth, and it's like, this is my domain. But it also knows it's got 3 outer planets behind it, and it's like, oh shit, I don't know what's going on over there. And especially, why do you think in the last couple hundred years with fighting Uranus and then the revolutions of people, so control has been more and more let go. So when people start getting this overly fear of control with Pluto and Saturn and South Node, they're tripping out, because Saturn can't control all this. The outer planets are proof that there are forces beyond Saturn's control that have an understanding and that can send subliminal or rays of energy subconsciously to us to change those things, to be more connected spiritually, to revolutionize this world with technology, and with Pluto to intuitively know the deep truth without having to continually go through it over and over and over again. Just put an end to it completely. And that's what control is not allowing you to reinvent, to repivot, to tap in and spiritually connect, and more importantly, to not end something that you don't want to be in. And that's where looks like you're screwed when you're not. It's when you face it and you go through it to the angle of where you know you really want to be, everything will be as beautiful as you've ever wanted to be. But you got to go through this rite of passage. That's what Saturn, South Node, and Pluto ask for, is grandma and the thug want to make sure you're letting go of crap, because they're not going to let you through the gates. You're not on the list unless you truly prove that with integrity and actually do that. So that's pretty much, what's up here. We do have Mercury sextile Mars, And so this is where it's like we do have the power to move forward. Even though we think we don't, we do. It's when we rechange our mind and we don't let beliefs, especially from other people or control systems, because this Jupiter in Sag, and with this South Node, Saturn, Pluto, anybody who is pushing a fear on you right now is trying to control you. If they're not trying to like liberate you, and that's what's tricky about this, is people are like using fear like as if like, oh my gosh, if you don't do this belief, you are not going to get to this place. Because you will go to hell, or you will die in a negative place, and you will burn in hell. Well, I'm here to tell you that Capricorn, and what in the old traditions of understanding and all of what even built the Bible, that Capricorn is actually cold and it's not fire. So you'd freeze to death. And why do you think the White Walkers are of ice? Moving on, as you can tell, I've been triggered by you-know-who out there in the media putting all that fear on all of everybody in the new age right now, when we all know. So, happy May 1st, rabbit, May Day. This is where the dark moon starts. And it's going to start with this whole Venus aspect coming, okay? Now, this is where I'm trying to tell you, it's not exactly a dark moon till 30 degrees of balsamic phase, but I will say that the moon on Chiron is definitely not adding to the more positive aspects of what we've been going through, because here's Mercury now at 21. Now it's squaring that midpoint here, 21 and a half of 23 and 20, okay? And so we're looking at the eye of this intense change in our life. This is something that is not going to just go away right away, okay? So this week is not, if you think that just like out of nowhere, just like, okay, I made a choice and I'm over it and I can just get out of it and without having some sort of mental repercussions or still processing it, you're crazy. You're going to continue thinking about it and processing it for a minute or obsessing about it. And then the number one thing about Mercury square this spot too is like, do not obsess over what's already been done. Don't go back on social medias and look up that person, or don't go back and look up that old job or that old person at the job or whatever. Like, it's done. Block the account and move on, because the more you get in obsession with Mercury square Pluto and Saturn and everything, you just are replaying it in your life, even though it's already gone. That one might strike a chord with people. But this dark moon on Chiron is definitely going to be kind of funky, because with moon on Chiron, we have to take care of ourselves. Nobody can fix us at this moment. That's right. Nobody can fix us. I think that's the hard part, is like we think, oh my gosh, I'll get fixed if somebody shows up or this new situation comes. Venus is here, the moon's here, Mercury's here, all the fun ones. These are all the benefit, these are all the best plans. These are the best ones. These are the top three. These are the most like, yay. If you had Jupiter in there, which isn't trine to Mercury, yeah, there's like a lot of fire, good energy, like. But with the moon on Chiron, I'm here to remind you all, folks, that moon on Chiron realizes, no matter how much, and I was born with moon Chiron, so I can tell you, no matter how much somebody can be there for you or cuddle you or tell you you're going to be okay. You know, I've all suffered from panic attack disorder for a long time, and I've gone through a lot in my past. No matter how much, my family, my best friends, the people in my life are right there and crying with me and cuddling or holding me or whatever. There's something about moon and Chiron. Like, the only thing that still makes me better is when I have to make myself feel better on my own. And I feel like a weirdo, because the weirdest way to make me feel better is I need to go in the shower and put my leg up and hit myself 6 times right here. That's what makes me feel better. It's weird shit. Now, I don't actually do that, but, you know, it'd be kind of interesting. I might try it. But that's the whole thing about moon Chiron, is this feeling of being like decimated emotionally, as far as like moon Chiron can also be like you don't feel supported by family, or you're not supported by the mother. I was actually very lucky, so it's funny when I hear every astrologer try to tell me, oh, so you had a horrible childhood, huh? And I'm like, no, actually it was pretty fucking damn good. I'm a double Leo. Did you check that one? It was more of like me wanting to go take care of myself on my own. I didn't feel like I love my family. I love being around my family. It's fun, but there's other things in life that are more emotionally fulfilling for me. And I know that that sounds weird because to most people, family, the fourth house of the moon's home is like, that's everything. But Moon Chiron has different comfort zones. And now it's in Aries, so we are defining these weird things in our life. And it might be weird things. Like right now, what I like to do is, I love racing jet skis, but I think I like just loading everything up to go race jet skis more than even racing sometimes. Or I like taking my car on the beach and blasting fucking crazy techno and house and trance and having a cigarette and fucking romping my motor and beating Lamborghinis. It's fun. But that's a weird thing that fulfills me emotionally at the moment or whatever. But that's the thing, is this is going to be where whatever it is now that you're going to try and seek fulfillment with your emotions, just know that no outside source is going to do it. It's whatever you inside define and need. And even when you do get it, it's whatever you do inside of appreciating and feeling it and filling that place back up and accepting the weirdness of it, or accepting too that sometimes it might not go the way that you want to, and being okay with that. Because this is what triggers people, Moon, Chiron stuff, especially with Venus, which is ahead. Oh, wait, hold on. It might be this new exciting little fling, or this new exciting little toy I'm going to buy, or this new exciting little thing, whatever it might be. It's like, is it going to last long? Probably not. But it's like, this is where it's like you have to learn that. You have to learn this overall power of now understanding how to take care of yourself when you feel alone. Because it's an Aries Chiron is alone, or it doesn't feel part of the circle around it. It feels weirdo. Think about, and we've been talking about Quasimodo because, of course, of the horrible fire in Notre Dame, but where's Quasimodo at right now? He's even alone. He doesn't even have a bell tower anymore. He doesn't even have gargoyles. Where is Quasimodo? We all know where Waldo fucking is. I want to know where Quasimodo is. That's Chiron and Aries. Quasimodo doesn't even have gargoyles anymore. He doesn't even have a bell tower. And I'm not trying to laugh at the situation. I'm trying to laugh at, like, where the fuck is he? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? She's in fucking San Diego probably. But it's like, where in the world is Quasimodo right now? And that's how you have to look at your life, and how that feels like, kind of like the Five of Pentacles, which is like, kind of outside the church, kind of outside in the snow, like, where the fuck am I going right now? And that's okay. It's about embracing that moment and not letting the fear of that aloneness, and because that aloneness is connected to all these changes, as Chiron and Uranus are in a semi-sextile as well. And this aloneness is about trying to find the new world that is going to bring you your ultimate greatness. Because in Quasimodo's life, he might be like, you know what? Those gargoyles, I'm fucking sick of them. Every night they poop, they belch, they fucking talk shit. And I've seen a couple of them fuck in the corner a couple times, and it is not a fun sight to see. And that thing is fucking it was built in the 1100s. It smells like shit. Do you know how many birds have shit for the last 900 to 1,000 years on this motherfucker? Quasimodo right now is actually probably like, even though he's nervous and he's scared, he's probably like, I know there's a better place out there for me. I think he's trying to go find wherever Beauty and the Beast was so he can go hang out with Belle. Replace the Beast, because he knows he could probably get Belle if she would fall for the Beast. Anyway, so this is going all out of weird directions, but like that's what I'm just going to say, that this Moon Chiron coming to the approach of Venus and its detriment and all that is like, sure, we are looking for these new places, it's exciting and yada, 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 but you got to remember though, you are looking for this long-term better place, and we got to look in a lot of directions, and you can't, I'm going to be honest with you, based off the astrology of what's happened down here, we have all gone through what makes an earthquake, I guess you could say, in your life look like, I don't know, like slipping and falling for 1 second to complete catastrophic failure in some part of your life. you got to remember that whatever you're going to go try and feel better with right now is going to be temporary, and you can't. This is the ultimate trigger of people's emotions and Chiron. Like, well, look it, I got it. We got in real quick, or we connected, or whatever, or I connected with this toy and it broke, or it really doesn't fulfill me right now, or oh my gosh, it's like, come on, you know it's a dark moon on Venus and with Mercury and square all this stuff. You know it's temporary shit, right? Like, come on, relax, chill out. Not everybody's going to be able to emotionally connect and bring you everything that you want right away. Like, you're Quasimodo. You have a unique situation. I'm trying to fit you in here for a second. Hold on one second. Let me check with the beast. Make sure he's still a beast first. I think he actually turned into his old self. Hold on one second. I want in! Give me a flower! Give me a rose! Where's that witch? So, all right, we're moving on, charts, because I'm getting way too off track now, but I'm having a blast. I love this shit. So here we go. Oh, where were we? We just passed. Where well. Oh yeah, that was Wednesday, and that was with the moon in Aries. Yeah, okay, we went through that. Okay, so now we're at. Oh, I think I missed Thursday's chart on here. I did. Well. Oh gosh. Hold on. You can keep the camera on me. I'm going to pull up Thursday's chart real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did not do Thursday's chart, so that means I'm going to have to actually pull up Thursday's chart really quick. Hold on one second, everyone. Yeah, it's a crazy fest out there, people, but it's fun. Everybody's like, this is not fun. I think it's fun. All right. Here we go. All right, where is this? Booyah. Look at that. That's how it's done, folks. All right. We're ready now. All right. Thursday, May 2nd. This is where that moon conjuncts Venus. So this is going to be, I think, trying to help us feel good, but you got to remember that Mercury now is at 22 and it will go 23 that day, and it is going to be squaring all the way over to that Pluto, okay? And I mean, this is going to bring up carnal desires and wanting to feel good and whatever that is, but there could be some deep frustrations, but Mercury square Pluto as well is going to have to face some truths. Maybe we get some things revealed to us that we were all excited with Moon and Venus, but then Pluto reveals like, hey, hate to rain on your little quick emotional Venus and Moon party, but here's some truth about the situation or what's going on in your life. And whoa, I was not expecting to hear that one. This is the facts. Okay, I'll take those facts. But we do have Mercury trine Jupiter, which is like, don't worry, those facts are here to help you to understand how it can all work out or not work out or go and give you options. Here's your options. And you got all positive options here. So it's not going to be the worst energy. But I think that also as well, it's kind of like Pluto and Jupiter are kind of battling out Mercury. And Jupiter's going to win because Pluto's not at home. So Jupiter's like, don't worry, you got lots of options, kid. You know, you're going to be okay. And Pluto's trying to almost scare Mercury into not stepping into its full self, but it also wants it to change. And Mercury is going to have to accept some of these new facts or revealing of information that, yeah, you know what, it's time to change my direction. Maybe this dark moon on Venus is kind of pulling me into this something that maybe I really don't want to be. And Jupiter's kind of like, it's okay, you learn your lessons, kid. Like, let's move on and you learn your lesson and let's go. It's okay. And so I think we're going to learn some really quick, fast lessons or some really quick, fast things that come into our life, but it's going to be all for the good. Jupiter's going to rule out on this one. And I think it's positive. Plus, Mercury is still in sextile over to Mars. The moon's going to come over sextile Mars. Moon's going to trine Jupiter. Moon will square Pluto, though. So we are emotionally and mentally going to go through this. I'm ready to jump in, excitement of stimulation. I'm seeing all these great options, but Pluto is just reminding, like, here's some truth. Use your intuition. You know, like, is this of integrity? Like, it might be fun, Moon and Venus. All this, you know, Mars, ready to go, stimulation, but is it really of integrity? Sustain integrity and have a great fucking time is what I'm trying to say this week to get through some of this stuff we've been through. And you're fine. But if it's not of integrity, if it's not good, and more importantly, if it's just destructive and it's honestly not of the up and up, don't do it. It won't be the best for you. So we're going to move a little quicker here to get us out of this deep astrology here. So Friday, boom, May 3rd, here we are. The moon finally enters Taurus. It's exaltation. The reason why the new moon in Taurus is such a big deal, not only because of Uranus being there for the first time since the 1930s with a new moon, but the moon is exalted in Taurus. This is the favorite place for the moon to be. This is the vacation house of the moon. Yes, the moon's at home in Cancer, and it has a nice place down in the sea. But you know, hanging out with Ariel and everybody down there a little bit and listening to those songs, it wants to get up and it wants to go up. The crab wants to go up onto the beach, the paradise. Now, do you guys understand why the moon is ruled by Cancer? Why does the crab go into the water and then back on the beach? Taurus, Cancer. There's this whole element of like, well, I feel really comfortable under the water because it's really nice and there's all these little things going on. But sometimes there's some, oh God, there's a weird shark. Get on the beach. And what's cool about it is it's a paradise beach. Like whenever I think of a crab, I think of crabs dancing on the beach, having a good time. But then it gets in its shell. It's like, uh-oh, somebody's walking by. But the good thing about the moon in Taurus is it's about enrichment. And to feel your best. And this new moon that's building up on Friday into Saturday, it's actually quite beautiful in my opinion. Just because, one, Mercury's off of the major squares, so we are coming into Mercury being happy. Mercury has not been happy in a long time. It just went through the Chiron aspect, it went through the squares here, went through this Neptune thing, it went through, like I said, the quick Aquarius stuff, that really was not fast enough, and it was at a weird time going on with everything else in the zodiac, and went through all the Capricorn stuff, and went through the retrograde in Sag, which went retrograde back into Scorpio. So look at this build up to this moment here. May 3rd into May 4th into May 5th is literally Mercury triumphing. And you got to remember that Mercury is Hermes. Mercury can bounce back and forth, and this is where Mercury is bouncing back to a positive state of mind. And that might sound crazy after going through a 6 months hell. But I'm telling you, this new moon is pulling us the fuck out of hell. And Mars, of course, opposed Jupiter. We'll talk about that in the next chart. But again, we are at a battle of making sure that we align right now in our life with these bigger belief systems that are positive and open and researching, even though we have some new curious information, especially that Venus and the moon met up and dark moon. With moon in Taurus, sun in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus, we need to process and make sure it is the best for our life before we just get all excited like a little dog with Mars and Gemini that's going against where Jupiter, which in its home sign, is saying like, yeah, like, is this really kind of the big picture that you really see, or are you just looking for an instant gratification here? Like, we're looking for the big thing here. Like, is this really where you want to go? And Mars is kind of like, remind me again of what we believe, because I got really caught up in all these other ideas. Especially Mercury was just squaring, you know, all this dark stuff. Oh yeah, this is where the beauty is. Okay, let me realign. And that's what we're going to start to see with this Friday, Saturday. And Saturday is beautiful with the new moon, 14 degrees, which equals 5, by the way. Very mercurial, but more importantly, you know, even though it's not exact trining, it is making some positive aspects here. It does have nice sextiles over to Neptune, so this is a big release. And new moons usually are about new beginnings, but this is a new beginning release with Neptune's aspect here, with Mars opposing Jupiter, reminding ourselves of getting back into the right mental state of our beliefs and moving forward from this point. This is beautiful. And when you have Venus, which of course is in detriment, but it's starting to square the nodes. And this is a Venus energy that is coming. And this is the first new moon with Uranus now in Taurus. So this is about this new beautiful world we're going to start to see on Saturday. And with Venus squaring the nodes, it's about choosing what you want by understanding the emotions, if they're going to be met, and making sure that you're not trying to control or have something that is just going to do something that you've done before, a repetitive karmic pattern, or going backwards, or doing the same thing over and over again. This is time to find the real comfort in life that you want and not have the fear to actually go do it. So before you make some major choices in what you're going to create, what you're going to buy, what you're going to have in your life, what relationships you're going to stick to or not, or whatever, this is important for you to really judge the emotions and judge the better life and see what's beyond before that you just go back into some old karmic pattern. Because this Venus squaring the nodes is going to bring up that with Saturn and Pluto of like, it's enticing with Saturn and Pluto, like, come back, we don't care, we're malefics, we'll show you the fucking shit show again if you want. We love throwing, it's Halloween every day. We love throwing a horror show, we love throwing a haunted house. You want to come back? Venus is like, no. Mercury's like, no. The sun's in Taurus is like, no. Especially because you remember what's opposite of Halloween is this time. Exactly this time. This week. We're in the opposite of Halloween right now, this week. Actually, it was last night to today. Go do the math. I always know because my Saturn is exactly the degree of fucking Halloween. So every Halloween, I hate Halloween. I dread Halloween. I'm like, oh, all these people in their fucking costumes and shit, and they're fucking fake. I'm like, you want to see some real shit? Like, come in the back with me. Let's go have a good time, you know? So, Saturn and Scorpio, baby. So here we are on Sunday, and the new moon is finishing, but the moon all weekend is in Taurus. It's feeling good. Mars finishes its opposition to Jupiter, and I think we are fully aligned, truly, with the moon trine Pluto, the moon trine Saturn, and with Venus again squaring these nodes. The only thing that can disalign us is a quick wanting to go backwards into destructive energy. We don't need to do that. Let's move into new emotions. Let's try new things that feel right, that feel good. That's what this sun wants. And there's a lot of great energy as it's connecting with Neptune, which Neptune is starting to say, yeah, let's release all these past situations and let's move into a better world. So, and Monday, the last day of this week we're covering, is Mercury enters Taurus. Mercury is happy, believe it or not. Even though it is Taurus, it's a Venus-ruled sign. It wants to feel good. It wants to have good thoughts. It wants to think about things to create that are good. And with Uranus close by, Mercury's like, finally I'm meeting with Uranus. Somebody that understands something here. Somebody that has some answers for me, because I just went through hell for 6 months. And I need to know what the hell's going on, you know? And I have a bunch of messages from the dark side that we need to like give to the light so the light knows what's coming. That's some deep shit. Because this is the bomb I'm going to drop on people this week. Mercury has been, I'm not going to use Game of Thrones again. We're over Game of Thrones. We're all getting over obsessions this week. And I'm actually not obsessed with Game of Thrones, but today I guess I am. But what I'm going to say is that Mercury hands off the messages from the dark to the light. That's Hermes, the only one that is a neutral planet. The only neutral planet. Because there are times, and if I could teach you astrology in the best way I've ever could teach you about Mercury, why it's neutral, is because there are going to be times, years, months, whatever, even decades, where Mercury will be always in positive energy. But what we just saw from the beginning of this year, and even actually at the end of 2018, till literally this week, was the hardest Mercury transit of our lives. And when it's in hard aspects, Mercury has gone to the dark. And it has observed. It's neutral, remember. It doesn't say, like, the dark's bad. Because Mercury also reports what the light's been doing to the dark. Mercury is the page that goes between kingdoms. In whatever sign it's in, it's either Page of Wands in Aries, right? Or if it's in Pisces, it's Page of Cups, but especially with the fish, right? Or when it's in Earth, you know, it's Page of Pentacles. This is what they're creating over there, and this is what they say that you need to do, and you owe that money. And then, of course, you know, Page of Swords, right? Like, you know, like, oh, yes, we're in Aquarius, and I figured it out. But now with this Page of Pentacles, Mercury, with Uranus there, this is going to get information that the Uranus that rules the higher realms, that rules the skies, but it's in Taurus, so it's kind of like on the ground like a blimp that's parked. Like, come here, Paige, tell me what the fuck happened over there for the last 6 months, because we're trying to build this paradise over here. What is going on down there? What did you just see again when you went and squared with Pluto and Saturn? What did you just see with Chiron that just went into Aries after 50 years, last time in 69 and 70? What the hell? I forgot about that one, and I'd never seen that in my life because they just found Chiron, I guess, in 77, and I don't know what it looks like in Aries. Remember, we don't know what Chiron looked like in Aries. We didn't find Chiron until 77. So we can go about this shit all day, but I'm just going to say that this week is the marker point in your life for the best world. Yet, how ironic, and I will say, and this is the best way to put it, how ironic that, when we think about life being good, we expect it to look good before it looks good. The fact that it has looked so gnarly means on the other side of this is going to be the most amazing. And that is how the universe works. That is relativity at its greatest, truly. And that's what this week is. And you might think I'm ludicrous, you might think I'm crazy. Those are not my rap names. But I am literally telling you from an astrological, separate from my own self and connected to what the planets are saying and what God's telling us through the planets. It's the hand of God has shown us to help understand what's going on. And see Siri's popping up out of nowhere too. But this week is, and the moon comes into Gemini on Monday with Mercury coming into Taurus. So at least it's starting to understand some sort of fabric to what to create now. And with Mars coming off the square, or the opposition to Jupiter, we are moving off this belief thing and we are seeing the big world. And we literally finish on Monday after this new moon and we start to see the possibilities of life again. And we will feel what spring truly feels like. Or down south, I know it's middle fall, but there's something inside of you that will spring up like spring in your life, even when it looks like fall outside. Because here what's ironic is, here it's spring on the northern hemisphere, but all of us feel this, but it doesn't feel like it inside. I'm fucking going through all this crazy shit. But what's going to be interesting is, it doesn't matter this whole opposition of the hemispheres or these oppositions of how to look things. All that matters is that if you trust in yourself, you know it, you find the power within yourself, you know what feels right to you, you will go so far. And you will have everything that truly is that you want in your life by going through these tough choices of truth and by not letting people scare you into doing things that you don't want to do or manipulating you into them. Anybody that doesn't give you your own choice to view everything and not damn you because of it, that's something to be scared about. That's not what this new world and this new earth is truly about, which is going to reveal itself for the first time for us with the new moon with Uranus and Taurus. And for those that unfortunately weren't paying attention, let the fear of all these cataclysmic collapses in our life that were actually meant as walls that were holding us from the most beautiful world. You let those dark forces that you thought were against you and everything that were actually the God's light destroying it to put you into the greatest place in the world. Speaking of the greatest place in the world, It's called highvibe.tv. I don't know if you guys have checked out, but we have been popping in the last week because Future Life is ending. Highvibe.tv is where this is the new app and new subscription platform, but I do want to say that it is not an app yet. The apps are actually almost done, so I'm going to say this first. So we are going to have an iPhone, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV, but they are in approval right now, and I made a couple changes with our partners. We went with this dark theme. We were a white theme, but believe it or not, the contrast made the sites and the apps look better. But I'm going to show you guys what's in this now. It's amazing. So this is without even being logged in. So now we've got a lot of people on here. We've got Tim, the daily health horoscope, weekly health horoscope. We got Hauser with his love stuff. We got Jackson Landis, of course, with his daily tarot. Andy's doing a new intuitive report. We got Steph Baker with her energy report, her weekly collectives, intuitive stuff. We got Tamara. She's doing angel cards, all of her reports. She's got some stuff. And we got me. And then the Peace Sealer right now just signed, and he's getting all of his new content ready. There is a lot going on here, and I'm doing all my daily horoscopes on here, which if you don't want to subscribe, you can buy it at least for $1. So if you just maybe like want to check in maybe once in a while and be like, oh, I want to see what today's going on like, you can buy it for $1. There's a 7-day free trial, or I've got other options that you can have there. And then of course my weekly sun sign horoscopes are on here, so you can like go on the app and see, there's all the comments, you can comment back to people. And then what's cool is you could look up the authors, so you can look up me, and then you can look at all my videos right here. So, boom, you can watch my weekly intuitive video, my weekly tarot video, my weekly Pisces, my weekly Scorpio. This is all going to be turned into an Apple TV app, an iPhone app, Android app, and everything. And the best part about it is when you sign in and log in and all that stuff, you have access to all your own account stuff, which is cool, which I'll show people. Turn it off for a second so people don't see my passwords. Because I actually use these passwords on a lot of things now. I want to show people, because people have been tripping out like, will I be able to cancel? It's like you can literally just control your whole account on your own. It is the best part. So, oh, that's so stupid. Unlock. Oh, I have to. Anyway, let me use another account. Anyway, you can just do it in there. I won't even show you. I have to grant my own self access to my own account. My account's on hold because I didn't pay. That's what happens if you don't pay. But anyway, highvibe.tv, check it out. A lot of people have moved over from Future Life. On May 31st is right now what we're all saying that is when my last horoscopes will be on there, and everybody's contracts ended with them, and they're over now at High Vibe. And check it out. And when those apps come out, they'll be awesome. But the website, like I showed you, it's just like an app. And when the apps come out, it'll just be easier because you don't have to sign in, and you'll just be automatically signed in, and there'll be push notifications and all that cool stuff. So we're also going to be doing lots of lives. And even on the highvibe.tv website, we're going to be doing some new cool shows with some new cool after dark chats and stuff like that. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out. So definitely check it out. I want to thank you so much for being a part of Deep Astrology. Please spread this message. Get this out there to as many people as possible. I really appreciate your shares. Please follow me on Instagram. I just did an awesome show on Al Jazeera yesterday with Sam Reynolds, Shandy Nichols, and it was really awesome talking about astrology. Friday I was on Good Morning La La Land. I want to say hi to all of them because they're amazing, and Dr. Erin, and her show is just awesome. That interview's up on my YouTube. Go to 17.com if you are into celebrity stuff. Just brought out a Lily Reinhart talk about the charts with her and that Cole guy. I know it sounds crazy, but like I really don't know these people fully. And then people kind of go crazy on me like, oh my gosh, why would you say that about them? I'm like, I don't even really know these people. You know, I'm reading charts. So, but anyways, there's been a lot of 17 articles lately. So all that's up at 17.com. Thanks so much for all your support. I truly appreciate it. And I will see all of you on highvibe.tv tomorrow, hopefully, for your daily horoscope. Love you all. Take care.